conspiracy. It can't be. Oh, no, 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 no. It can't be conspiracy.
Hey my royal family, it's Jelly Bean about my beauty, and welcome my royal family gang. JC, I hope you're blessed in the mighty name of Jesus. Okay, and welcome to my episode of Can't Be Conspiracy. I just don't believe it. It actually can't be. No, it actually can't be. You'll see that what I'm speaking about, it actually can't be conspiracy, because I don't believe it. You're gonna believe it, okay? I've got evidence and stuff, and I've just built the whole case and stuff, so I could actually take it to the courts and stuff. So in this episode, it's broken down into 3 parts because there's just so much to talk about. In this first part that you're watching right now, and if you're here, wow, well done, because we are going to gain edification and really see what's going on in this world that they're trying to hide from everyone. In this episode, we are going to be talking about the following. MK Ultra. If you don't know about it, there used to be a lot of videos on YouTube about MK Ultra, mind control, and a lot of the celebrities that you see, people in political and public places, they are under MK Ultra, mind control.
Talk to you. How are you?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling nervous, overwhelmed, everything.
You feel it all right now.
I feel it all, butterfly in my stomach and vagina.
Okay. I love you. Why do I love you? Well, I know I love you so much. The same reason everyone loves you, because you speak your mind, Cardi B. You do not hold back.
Yeah, well, I love it too. Sometimes it gets me in trouble, whoever's in there. It gets me in trouble, whoever's in there.
It gets me in trouble, whoever's in there.
Make sure you like, subscribe if you like this content, and let it circulate so that people stop looking to Baal. And if you don't know who Baal is, I'm going to be continuing my beauty and Bible study series. So eventually we'll talk about Baal and his false prophets, but that's the spirit that they speak about, or speak from, I should say, when they are talking on the news. Child trafficking is very prevalent in our society, and I've actually looked at Bible scripture that our Father showed me about this, that I was like, wow, because I was asking, Father, why do these things happen in our society? There must be something about it in the Bible, because the Bible has answers for everything. And so I'm going to also talk about that. So those are the main things I'm going to focus on in this episode. The CIA, the fact that a lot of them are child abusers, or they facilitate child trafficking and child abuse, and what MK Ultra is. In my next episode, I'm also going to talk about the origins of COVID, the fact that they've known about this virus since about 2013. I've heard episodes, or I should not say episodes, but I've heard meetings where they had in the Pentagon, which is actually the pentagram, if you know what that is. They are all witches, wizards, and warlocks, okay? And that is why they also have everyone wearing masks. And I'm going to talk about this, I said COVID, in probably another episode, because that is a lot of information that I could include about that. But wearing the masks is actually an occultic ritual. They're trying to introduce the New World Order, and many people have already kind of submitted their will to it by walking around wearing a mask that actually, if you read the box of masks, it says that it can't prevent COVID-19. So it's really ridiculous, and it actually does the opposite in that it inhibits the brain, because you are not getting the oxygen you need. You're actually breathing in the carbon dioxide that your body is expelling. But again, we'll talk about that in another episode.
Oh, the scissors.
I thought you guys would all hate me when you found out. Your mother trying to protect your son.
What's wrong with me?
You seen that before?
No.
Come feel it. It has a pull.
What is it?
It pulls. Like you felt it.
So it doesn't stick on both sides.
And when you take it off and you go to put it on. That's what I'm saying. You touch my skin. Is there anything on my skin? Is there anything on the scissors? No. What does N mean? Tell my husband. His name's Brock.
Brock, your wife is magnetic.
I'm an alien. It's not funny though, for real.
Our Father has already given us a prophetic word that I released on, I think it was May the 24th. I'm going to link it in the description box, where he gave me this vision. The other day of, like, I knew it was a man. Don't know why I knew it was a man, but I knew it was a man who was under a cover, and they were like doing stupid things under the cover. But it was like as if what I received from that was that things were being exposed, because I also saw things in my dreams, but they were related to other things that the Lord has me doing. But what I saw was like somebody under a cover, and it's like the cover is going to be removed.
I've been to see the Prime Minister to resign as Secretary of State for Health and Social Care. I understand the enormous sacrifices that everybody in this country has made, that you have made, and those of us who make these rules have got to stick by them, and that's why I've got to resign. I want to thank people for their incredible sacrifices and what they've done. Everybody working in the NHS, across social care, everyone involved in the vaccine programme, and frankly everybody in this country who has risen to the challenges that we've seen over this past 18 months. I'm very proud of what we've done to protect the NHS at the peak, to deliver that vaccine rollout, one of the fastest in the world, and I look forward to supporting the government and the Prime Minister from the backbenches to make sure that we can get out of this pandemic. We're so close to the end, and then build back better so that this country can fulfill its potential, which is so great. And I will do that with all of my heart.
He won't speak to me.
Jennifer Arcuri feels she's been cast aside because of the relationship she claims she had with Boris Johnson. And speaking to ITV's Exposure programme, she had a very personal message for the Prime Minister.
You know that I've been nothing but loyal, faithful, supportive, and a true confidant of yours. I've kept your secrets, and I've been your friend. And I don't understand why you've blocked me.
We've now got to go over and talk to California, is that right?
The American businesswoman invited Boris Johnson, then Mayor of London, to events she organised. She received public money and access to overseas trade missions led by Mr. Johnson. The key question is, should he have declared any personal relationship according to the Code of Conduct?
I didn't know anything about having to declare me. Now, if you're asking if he had declared me, would I have preferred that to avoid all of this humiliation? Absolutely.
2 months ago, when Boris Johnson was asked, he was reluctant to discuss the matter in any detail.
Everything that I did was done in complete conformity with the rules.
And if you do like this kind of content, please do interact with my videos so they can actually circulate. When I spoke about the vaccines and so on previously in a previous video, I got a strike from YouTube, and I believe they shadow banned my content. So I've not really been speaking about this stuff because I do want my channel, and I've already got a strike. So if you do see me disappear for like a week, it's because they are removing my content. So do support me if you do like this content. I appreciate it. But this is not for children, so at this point, if there are any children here, please remove them so they don't have to hear this information because it's quite disturbing. If you haven't already, do go and look at my other episodes in this playlist to see exactly what I'm speaking about in terms of these Satanists and what they actually do, but I will be building on this playlist, so stay tuned and let's tune in to this young lady's story.
To describe this story as horrifying would be an understatement. And if that sounds like a warning, then that's exactly what it's meant to be. It deals with the sexual abuse of children by satanic cults. And not only that, human sacrifices as well. We started investigating these secret satanic cults when a British Member of Parliament linked them with the ritual murder of children. In this day and age, it sounded too far-fetched, as did suggestions that the same thing might be happening in Australia. But then we met Teresa. She's only 15, and for 12 of those years, she's been the victim of relentless depravity. Teresa's story is both shocking and compelling, yet it's a story she's anxious to tell. But again, we should warn you that parts of this report may be distressing.
Friends of family and strangers and my family used to rape me. Make me abort the babies I had.
It would be hard to imagine more misery and suffering than what Teresa says she's had to endure.
And us kids would be made to do things with the adults and the animals, and then a sacrifice would happen.
The sacrifice, were these animal sacrifices?
Animals and people.
On what scale do you think this was happening?
Enormous, far beyond what we've ever heard of here before.
Teresa's mother, Bridget.
You're talking about mass murder?
Yes, on a scale that this country's never heard of before.
Teresa is now 15, but at the age of 2, she was left in the care of this woman, the grandma she called Nan. And that, she says, is when her torment started.
Who was the leader? Who was the boss of the gang, of the cult?
At home it was my nan.
Your Nan made you have sex with animals?
Yeah. Like goats and donkeys.
How many men or how many people would have sex with you?
What, at one time?
Yes.
About everyone who was there, which must have been about 20. You know, from 10 to 20 people. If it was a big ceremony, it used to be 30.
What would your grandma be doing when these men were forcing themselves on you?
Usually laughing. Or smiling. Or having sex with another man. Or other men.
A chronicle of debauchery and depravity so horrific it's hard to believe. You have to ask yourself, could Teresa be just making it up?
No. I know what's true and what's not. No, I know what I saw.
Children don't make up elaborate lies that this would have to be if it was a lie, which I know it is not. It isn't.
This couldn't be a terrible dream, a nightmare that you're reliving?
No. It's no dream. It's a nightmare, but it's not one you can wake up from. It's there all the time.
This really happened, you're quite sure of that?
Yeah.
The police don't think Teresa made up a story. Some of the cult members are to stand trial. 5 men have been charged with rape. As for Nan, the grandmother, she's 61 and lives in this council flat in South London. She's charged on 7 counts of aiding and abetting rape and 2 counts of performing abortions on Teresa. Few people, if any, in Britain have counselled as many victims of satanic abuse or Satanists themselves as Ray Wire has. If there is an expert on satanic cults, it would have to be him.
Do you believe Teresa's story?
I believe Teresa's story. It's exactly the same story as I've heard from men who says they've done it.
You've dealt with other cases like hers?
Yes.
21 cases like hers, he says, in the past 2 years alone.
Themes like they were put in boxes with spiders and worms, where they were trapped in fear, where there was a high use of excrement and urine, where there was talk of human sacrifice.
Take just one of those rituals, putting children in boxes with spiders and worms. Now, listen to what Teresa told her mother.
And they had a coffin-like box that children were put in with spiders and snakes and the lid shut and left in there. I would have come out deranged. I could not have coped with that mentally at all.
You have evidence to back up stories like Teresa's, that this is
Yes.
really happening?
Well, we have that age of child, 6, 5 and 4, giving information that ties up with Teresa. How do those children know? How do those children able to describe rituals, to talk about ceremonies, to talk about sacrificing animals? How do those children know?
Nightmares, imagining it?
You can't imagine those things at 3 and 4 years old, and you also don't have the evidence of anal sex abuse and oral sex abuse and all that other abuse that clearly those children have experienced and endured.
During these ceremonies, was Satan, the devil, ever referred to?
He was called Lucifer.
What did they say about the devil, about Lucifer?
That killing the people made him happy.
Sacrifices to please the devil. According to Teresa, the worst rituals took place at a house somewhere in the country.
It was big, you know, expensive. From the front, it looked like a castle. You know, it had a long drive and big double wooden doors.
Do you think they were rich people then?
Very rich.
Now, where was this big house somewhere in the country? Teresa says she can't take the police there because the Satanists made sure she'd never know how to find it.
Teresa was always drugged, or on a couple of occasions she says she was knocked out, so that she never fully knew the route.
There was a tramp who was brought in once, you know, and he was killed. He was cut from his throat down to his stomach, and they ate him, or bits of him.
They killed a man at a ceremony
Yeah,
in front of you?
yeah, in front of all of us.
Did the tramp, did this man fight back?
No, I think he was, you know, drunk or something. He seemed really dopey. He was laughing a lot when he was brought in. And he started screaming when they began to cut. But after a while, you know, he died. I'd seen a few killings before then. Although I wasn't used to it, you know, that was the worst one. I really don't know what I thought. I suppose I thought, thank God it's not me.
Let me get this right now. Are you saying that you saw more than one person killed in that house?
Yeah. I've seen loads of babies killed there, just newborn babies, or aborted ones which were only small. You know, 4-year-olds. Any age, really.
Did they ever say they might kill you?
They threatened to kill my little girl, who, when I left, was still at the house.
A friend?
Huh?
What little girl?
My little girl, Alex. She's about 4 now.
You mean you had a child?
Yeah.
How old were you when you had that child?
11.
Motherhood at the age of 11. But from what Teresa told her mother, it wasn't the only pregnancy.
We think about 7 or 8 times. It's hard to say. It was constantly happening from the time she was capable of being pregnant.
What happened to the pregnancies, to the babies?
They were aborted by my nan or by one of the doctors at the house.
There were doctors there at that house?
Yeah, there was 2, I think. Yeah, and a nurse.
What would happen to the fetuses, the unborn babies?
I used to be taken away most of the time, and one time the baby was taken out of me and then killed in front of me because it was still alive.
And then, what would happen?
Well, after they killed it, they would eat it. Well, we were also made to eat it.
You were made to eat your own fetus?
Yeah.
Who made you do this?
My nan.
You'd think the one person in the world you could leave a little girl with would be Grandma. Someone to give her love and protect her from harm. Yet, when Teresa was left to live with her grandmother, they might as well have handed her to the devil himself.
Grandmothers, I mean, the vision it conjures up for you, sweet old lady with grey hair, rosy cheeks, holding her arms out to love her grandchildren. And it was exactly the reverse.
But why was Teresa living with Nan in the first place and not with her mother?
Well, when my first marriage broke up, I took the children with me and couldn't cope. So I gave them to their father, who in turn moved to his mother's.
To Nan's place?
Yeah. And when he left the Nan's place, he left the children there.
How do you feel now towards her grandma and the other people who did all those things to your daughter?
They disgust me. They are the worst form of life this earth has had the misfortune to create. Vile.
Did you ever try to run away? You must have been frightened.
A couple of times I did, but my uncle, he caught me and brought me back.
Going to the police? Did that occur to you?
No. No. I thought it was normal, you know, even though I didn't like it. You know, I mean, you don't like to eat greens, but you know, somehow I thought it was just her being called to be kind or something like that.
She said to me it was something that everybody did, she thought, you know, like you don't like going to school or the dentist, you don't like going to the black masses.
It was never any different. I didn't have nothing to compare it to.
As we said earlier, the police have already charged some members of the cult, and we know they're also investigating Teresa's accounts of those ritual killings. If there were as many, she told us, then the Satanists had a problem. How did they get rid of the bodies?
They had a tub, you know, pretty big, I don't know. A very big tub, and they used to put the bodies and bones in there. And it used to go like, you know, fizzy and that. And then there was nothing left. Or there didn't seem to be, but when they cleared it out, there used to be a sludge at the bottom.
Teresa's story, her account, doesn't really surprise you.
It doesn't surprise me in the light of satanic abuse, no.
Do you get frustrated with people who just won't accept that these things do happen?
Yes, because I've worked with murderers in prisons for years, Not that long ago, a boy was found in a forest in southern England without a head. We have no doubts that men can do that. And yet when we start talking about men within Satanism who actually believe in evil and it's the right to express evil, we suddenly have a doubt.
That is not even the worst part. That is just the top, the tip of the iceberg. Big business. What the big business is in the world, the biggest business in the world, the most successful business people around the world. They have a network of people that work together, and I'm going to show you how they make their money.
If anyone causes one of these little ones that believe in me to stumble, it would be better for them to have a large millstone hung around their neck and to be drowned in the depths of the sea. This is the only passage in the Bible in which Jesus Christ says that a man who corrupts a child should better kill himself. Someone from the criminal underworld got in touch with me, told me about a girl willing to sell her child to a brothel or as an organ donor. I decided to save that child and make a documentary about it. Although I managed to relocate the girl to a different town, she was still controlled by an agent who wanted to sell her child.
When we already knew she was pregnant, I contacted my colleague, a well-known person in the criminal underworld, and simply told him I had a child for sale. I wanted to sell that child for spare parts, to a brothel, to pedophiles. I didn't give a fuck where it'd go. I just wanted to sell it and make money. So he said he'd help me.
What do you mean, to a brothel? Such small kids are used in brothels too?
Of course. It's pretty common in Germany.
Meaning?
Meaning, such small kids are first put up with a family that raises them until they turn 3 or 4, and then they are sent to a brothel.
The sale of a newborn baby is carried through in such a way that in the hospital the mother signs the child trafficker in as the father. Then he takes the baby abroad. No one will ever look for them, as the baby is officially somewhere in Europe with its father. What do you feel when you look at your belly?
Nothing. Disgust. I don't like it at all. I'd like to get rid of it.
Which is more profitable? Selling the child for organs or to a brothel?
For the mother, selling the child as an organ donor.
Do you know the final price of the organs? How much a child like that costs in Europe?
Yes, I do.
All in all, how much is the heart, for example?
I know the liver costs 70,000 Polish zlotys. It's a black market. So it's obvious only wealthy people who have a lot of money are involved. If their child is ill, this is their way to ensure its longer life.
What's the greatest demand?
The liver, the heart, the retina, the eyes, the retina.
Do you know the price of the retina or the heart?
The heart is worth almost 70,000, but euros.
Honestly, if it wasn't for this child, who is merchandise, I wouldn't be able to do it. But the thing is, if there's a possibility to earn quite good money on it, why not? They offer 50 to 150,000. It depends.
Do you believe it's a good price, 50 for a child?
Without intermediaries, I'd say it's enough.
Enough for what?
To make up for those 9 months. Where else could a young person like me earn 50,000 in 9 months?
Have you thought what you'd buy with that money?
No, but if I could afford it, perhaps a nice car?
Clothes?
a phone, new shoes.
What's the name of the portal?
Its name is Sperm Donors Let's Make Babies. It's a website where different people post their ads. Women who want to give away or sell their children. All I cared about was that somebody took the child and paid so that I could share the money with the mother.
So you didn't care much about the children's fate?
No, I don't really. I care about my own child. My child is most important to me.
Do you believe in God?
No, I don't believe in God.
A baby like that can't understand pain, fear, or happiness. At least that's what I think.
Do you consider a possibility that your emotions might change and you'll regret it?
No.
Even more so since those child brothels for pedophiles are mainly run by Muslims.
Why?
Their religion and culture does not prohibit them from having sex with children. They have wives or husbands who are 5 or 10 years old, so it's not a problem for them. Therefore, it's the Arabs that mainly run those places.
How many brothels do they have?
4.
How many children are in each of them?
Last time I asked, there were 7 of them in one of the German brothels.
Do those children live there?
Yes.
Do they even leave the brothel?
No.
So they never go out for a walk, right?
They do go outside with a chaperone that watches them, but they never go beyond the wall or the fence.
So it happens inside a house, right?
Yes, in a house. A regular house.
So a child ends up there at the age of about 4?
Yes, about 4.
Why 4?
It depends on what the clients want.
And then the child is stuffed with drugs?
Yes, they're stuffed with drugs, cocaine or amphetamine. But the child usually has intercourse with a pedophile about once a week only. That's why there are so many of them, to stay in business. There must be a lot of children.
Why only once a week?
A child can't be kept on cocaine or amphetamine all the time, because it might kill them.
So they're given drugs only during an intercourse?
Before an intercourse, whenever the need arises. It's such a hermetic world that they know even several days earlier when and which pedophile will come and ask for a child.
Till what age does a child remain in a brothel?
Until the age of 12 or 13.
Then what?
They are sent to a regular brothel, because such a child is no longer able to change their life. Their mind is so fucked up, and so is their world, that the only thing they can do is go to an adult brothel.
And how long do they stay there?
As long as they can. If they're good at what they do.
Can they go out, or do they remain locked up?
They may go out, just like in the brothels in Poland, but a child like that generally becomes a social misfit. They suffer from social phobias as they have never gone to school. They're taught on the spot what to say or how to sign their name at the most.
The trafficker would change the time of our meeting several times. Finally, 30 minutes before the interview, he told me where to go. What kind of words do those guys use? Do they say merchandise and stuff? How does it work?
That's the way. That's the way.
What's the term?
A dolly, usually.
Does the gender matter? Or are boys called that too?
It matters. Merchandise is usually used for the boys, and dolly for the girls. For him, a 10-year-old boy is too old. A very little child, a 3 or 4 years old boy, or a 3 or 4 years old girl, likes to touch.
What does the child's day look like? How many times a day or a week do they have sex?
It depends. You can't have a child for an hour. It's a whole day or a whole night event. At least for several hours.
Does it go on day after day? Or are there any breaks because of the drugs they're given?
No.
Or does it basically depend on the number of clients?
If one child is exhausted, there is another one. Someone takes care of them so they function and look well.
So it's kind of breeding, human breeding.
Yes, exactly. Sometimes the children refuse to eat. Then they get injections.
It's something like a PTSD?
Kind of.
Are they injected with nutrients or drugs?
It may be drips or it may be injections. The women that look after them are kind of good aunties. Though some of them are not that good, as one of them pulls their hair until they do what she wants, or respond when she calls out their names, because at the beginning, they don't respond to anything, not even their names, as if the kid's completely turned off.
How many of those brothels do you think there are in Europe?
I know of about 4.
In which countries?
Belgium, Germany, Poland.
Where is the one in Poland?
Tri-City.
In a regular house as well?
Yes. Those intercourses take place before a child is taken away for organs.
Does the client have to pay more for that?
Of course. I believe the price amounts to... I mean, really, the whole team is engaged. So it must be around €500,000.
From what age can you have an intercourse with a child without risking tearing them apart?
Well, I'd say they can have regular sex from the age 6 or 8 and earlier. It is when recycling begins.
Recycling?
Yes, at a VIP price. VIP entertainment. He likes it when he shoves his dick in. Blood spilling. He massacres the child.
Does he murder the child or leave it to die?
Whatever turns him on. But then, the child is a wreck anyway.
How long can a child survive in such conditions?
If there's a client, for the VIP, satisfaction, then it won't survive. They make movies and post them on the darknet. Kids don't hug each other. They're afraid of being touched. They are. They seem to know. They're even afraid to touch their own bodies.
When talking to the trafficker, I knew I was looking at the devil in the eye. Do those people believe in Satan? How do they worship him? Are they deep in that oculate shit?
It's a sect. Those people don't even greet each other when they greet each other. I mean, they don't greet each other by just saying hello or good morning or guten Tag. It's not what they say.
So what do they say? Ave fucking Satan or what?
No. They use completely different two words.
What words?
I'm not going to utter them.
Why?
I promised myself I'd never say them.
Have you ever seen any Satanist artifacts when you went to visit those individuals? Any oculate objects like pentagrams, inverted crosses, or something?
There's a pentagram under that inscription.
Really?
I was fucking there, man.
The dude has a pentagram in his house?
Yes. There are those words I told you they use to greet each other. That kind of our good morning. And there's a pentagram under them.
There is the evil one behind the children's suffering. It's obvious.
Do you know what I felt while recruiting those girls? I didn't give a shit about those girls and their kids. All I cared about was the money. The adoption of a child is carried through in such a way that the girl gets married to an Arab, a Muslim. The Muslim law allows marrying even underage girls. Then he gets to adopt the child. He takes the child away to his country, a Muslim one. In a legit way. In Muslim countries, papers are easy to get. For 50 local dollars, you can get any document you want. Changing the first or last name is not a problem, and so any trace of the child is lost. The client doesn't have to come to the brothel in his own car. He is brought there. The meeting spot is established earlier. It's different with different clients. Even the clients can't see each other. It happens that they even tear infants apart with their dicks. The baby dies.
In that room, yes?
Yes, in that room. The moment the client informs he wants to kill the child, a whole group is immediately set up to pick up the organs. We schedule it so that everything overlaps, so that we have a recipient ready. Whatever can we say?
Is the child still alive when it's being taken to the operating room?
It's done on the spot in the villa.
Is that where the organs are retrieved?
Yes, there's a special sterile room there. When they torture those children, the children get broken. Their arms get broken. Their legs get pulled out of the hips. They often get beaten up. Torn apart. Organs, buttholes.
Do you mean those little babies get their legs pulled out?
Yes.
So it's sadism?
Yes, sadism. Infants always suffer. They all do. Later, that child is useless. The kids' clients are very rich. They even come in their own private jets and helicopters from fuck who knows where. They are picked up at different locations. Filthy rich. They pay a fortune to spend time with a child. Everything's arranged with the medical team. They know the child will not survive. And if it becomes crippled for life, nobody's going to look after it. So it immediately becomes an organ donor. Those brothels have branches all over the world, with operating rooms. They are high security sites. Few people know about them. There are no regular brothels. We're talking about huge money here, so they are perfectly organized. It's not just some dude or madam sitting there. It's all professionally set up.
Like a corporation?
Yes, like a corporation. As complex as a corporation. There must be a medical team on standby.
A man has no chance to win with a devil because the devil is a million times more intelligent than we are. What we deal with is horrible, manipulative, merciless power. But when a man is close to God, then devil doesn't stand a chance. And it roars angrily like a lion because it knows that it has already lost. Unable to get to me, the devil attacked the child trafficker.
Do you know I wanted to fucking end my life? I really wanted to fucking do it. I called my kid. I called my son. And I told him, these are the last words you'll hear from me. I already cut my wrists, you know. Because of our conversations, I cut my wrists. I fucking cut my wrists. I'm sorry.
Stay blessed, my royal family, in the mighty and all-powerful name of Jesus Christ. Young JC.
I don't believe it. Oh no, 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 it can't be. I say no, 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 it can't be. It can't be conspiracy. It can't be. Oh no, 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 it can't be conspiracy.